Could you please say about a special tip how to learn English quickly and effectively?
Thank you. I have been asked this question quite often. I have collected some tips on studying English effectively as a non-native English speaker, particularly in a country where English is not spoken on a daily basis. There are 5 tips actually. First one is to create a habit of speaking English every day. How can we do that? When I was young, what I did was that I prepare my to-do list for the day. For example, when I get up, I put down my to-do list, and then I started presenting myself in English of what I am going to do for the day. And then when I get back home at night, before I go to bed, maybe 15 minutes before I go to bed, I review my to-do list and then see what I have done for the day, what I have accomplished for the day, and what I have not, and then what lesson I learn from my day. So in so doing, I put English into my everyday use, and then I can communicate more comfortably in English language. And the same thing, I get used to listening to music. Particularly, I also watch BBC World Service on a daily basis as well. Not that long, actually, just 15 minutes or so. So the first tip is to create a habit of speaking English every day by listening to music, by creating to-do lists for yourself, and then presenting it. The second tip is reading. Reading is so powerful. I read, but not for the sake of reading. I read it sometimes loudly, and then I try to debrief what I have just read. For example, I would go to university half an hour earlier, 1 hour earlier than other when the class was empty. I review my lessons. For example, if I had to study accounting in the evening, I would review my accounting lessons. And then after that, I went up on stage. When the class was empty, there were only chairs over there, but I considered the chairs were my students. So I spoke to myself in English. I was pretending as if I were a lecturer. So I was talking about that subject matters. Again, in doing that, you put your language into technical work. And sometimes I even consider myself as an expert, and I imagine that a reporter like yourself came to me and interviewed me on that particular subject matter, and I prepare a few questions. I asked myself and then I responded. So that's how I could converse in my technical subject matter. That is tip number 2, okay, reading and debriefing. Tip number 3 that I want to share with young people is a little bit technical, but this is called shadowing. I enjoy listening to VOA Special English program. It's abundantly available online. So I go there and I listen to the report, whatever I like. It can be economic report, education report, development report, and so on. And then I just pick one report a day. And what I did was, first of all, I listened to the reporter reading. And you know, in VOA Special English, you have the subtitle running when the reporter reads. So what I do at the time was first to listen, just listen to the reporter while reading the subtitle running down below. And then after that, I try to shadow after the native speaker. Shadow means you read in real time. I mean, you try to read the report in real time with the reporter. In so doing, you pick up the intonation, you pick up the pronunciation from the native speaker. And then step number 3 in that particular tip, I mute the reporter's sound, voice, and then I start reading the report myself when the subtitle is running. And then I use my phone to record my own voice, and then after that I listen to my own report reading to see whether or not I have made any errors in pronunciations, I have any problems with the technical words or so over there. And then I can always improve myself by doing so. Okay, so this is tip number 3, and I believe that this one is so powerful. If you want to do it, you can try it actually at home. It costs nothing actually. Just go online, go to VOA Special English, and then try to follow the steps that I have mentioned. Tip number 4 is even very highly technical. It's about replacing words or phrases with another word or phrases of equivalent meaning. In doing this, you train your brain, to be quick in generating new words and expression. For example, when you are listening to somebody speaking English, you try to produce a different version or your own version, but you retain the same message, you retain the content, yet you have a lot of different expression. In English, like in Khmer as well, you have synonymous words, you have quite similar expression to use. You don't have to use exactly what the speakers say, but you can use your own version, in other words, okay? Once again, doing so, you train your brain to be very quick in generating new words and expressions. And that language will come to you automatically if you know how to use it in such a context. Last tip, tip number 5, once again, I myself practiced this many years back, was interpreting. When I was a student, I enjoy listening to Prime Minister of Cambodia's public speech. And whenever he was delivering speech, I was interpreting to myself back at home into English language. So that's how I improved my English, because remember that Khmer and English do not share the same grammatical root. It's completely different. In our language, we have adjective after noun, but in English, you have adjective before noun, okay? So the structure is completely different. Sometimes when you listen to Cambodians speaking English, they are still badly influenced by their mother tongue, by their national language. But if you learn to interpret, then you can actually use English in a very natural grammatical structure in English language by learning how to interpret it. Okay, so once again, there are 5 tips I myself have collected for myself, reflecting back on what I have learned and accumulated over the years. I feel that these 5 tips, which are not written anywhere in any book, but it's from me, actually, my personal experience. These are the one, and I encourage Cambodian students who want to speak English very well to try this. Maybe not 5, maybe only 3 tips or 4 tips, it's up to them. It doesn't cost them anything anyway. I believe that people have different learning attitude. Maybe some tips may not work with them, but anyway, it doesn't cost anything to try anyway.
So
they should.
Back then, how many hours that you keep doing like a tip that you should?
Tip number 1, it takes me about 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening before I go to bed, so 30 minutes in total. Mm-hmm. Reading, it takes me about half an hour or so, okay? And other tips is about half an hour or so, yeah. Okay. And I don't actually do it every day, just let's say 2 or 3 days per week.
The problem is that they want to learn English quickly, but then no willing to do that.
There is no gain
without pain. What is your
pain.
Opinion?
There is no gain without pain, of course. Okay. And if they are not willing to try, how can they pick up this language very well? So they have to do it. I had to do it. I have no shortcut to that. I'm sorry. I have no any other shortcut to that.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. My pleasure.